that you can't help but notice above. He just won ACC Rookie of the Week for the fourth time this year. He has learned how to protect the ball while still being aggressive. How much of that is natural versus stuff that he's learned and developed this year?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's a lot of natural ability that he has. One of the biggest things that I don't think you can teach is a feel. He has a great feel for the game. But teams have thrown a lot of different looks at him. They've dropped. The way they defend the ball screen. They've tried to be aggressive. They've switched. Tried to be very physical. And it is impressive with the fact that he's been able to watch tape, to learn, to come from in a timeout. We can talk to him about what they're trying to do and to be able to make those adjustments. So I think it's a little bit of both.
A lot of people are going to talk about his shot or how quick he is off the ball, but I feel like maybe one of his more underrated traits is how smart of a basketball player he is.
I think his mind is one of his greatest gifts. And one of the things that's exciting about him as a player is you're going to continue to see that get better. With more experience, you gain knowledge. And with that and the way his mind works, he'll learn. He's a very, very quick learner, and he wants to learn. He wants to get better. And so I do think I agree, it's one of the most underrated parts of his game.
Jeff, what led to what we saw from Zach, and how do you get that more consistently?
I thought one of the things is, I thought a couple things. I thought, number one, I thought he was aggressive early defensively. And he was able to get out, get in transition. He got a dunk. But then the second thing is that I thought we moved the ball. I thought our ball movement, our spacing, the ball had energy, and he was able to just get some open shots, some open looks. He's a kid that, made over 123s in his 2 years, so over 60 a year during his time at High Point. So he can shoot the basketball. It's just a matter of taking good shots, making sure he gets to his spots on time, and then us having great ball movement and player movement.
What has Above gotten better at since the beginning of the season maybe he was struggling with early?
Well, I think just experience, understanding what teams are trying to do with him, being able to counter some of that. He's never been in a rush, but just the experience of playing. I think he's gotten better defensively, of understanding the coverages, understanding help. I thought he was always a pretty good on-the-ball defender, especially with his length, but understanding of how not to get screened, being in a stance, and then having the ball in his hands, understanding how to command an offense a little bit better, having a feel of what we want to run, why we want to run it. Those are the things I think he's gotten better with. He still has a large ceiling to continue to get better.
As Jalen starts to play better, have you found you're able to kind of trust him with more to run the offense, take command of things in that way?
Yeah, I've always trusted him because he too has a really good basketball mind and a really good feel, but with more experience and him getting a little bit healthier. He had an injury this summer that was a little bit nagging for a while, a leg injury. And I think what we've seen, especially over the past few weeks, there's more pop in his game. He's a little bit quicker, a little bit faster like he was when he first got here. I think a big part of that is that he's starting to feel like himself again from the injury.
You've talked about your guys having to get used to playing at the high major level this year, not only the freshmen, but the transfers you brought in from a lower level of D1 basketball. Do you feel that you've noticed improvement in that category since ACC play started? I know Ish has been out a little bit, but
yeah, I think we have. I mean, we've played 4 ACC games. Ish has played in 3 of them. Zach has played in all 4. We played 5 games against high major in the non-conference, so that's 9. So I think our guys have a pretty good feel for it. I think all of them, even guys like Guillermo playing consistent minutes in these games, guys like Jorge playing consistent minutes in these games. Will Jeffers hadn't done it in a year. And so, having consistent minutes in these games, I think we're getting better. We still have a bridge that we need to cross with being able to lock in and be consistent for 40 minutes with our discipline, with our toughness, with our aggression, and being able to do that for a full 40 minutes.
What's the most thing, the biggest thing that concerns you about Duke?
I think they're really good. I think they're playing very well right now. I thought that Notre Dame win was a heck of a win because that guy's a really good coach at Notre Dame, and they had a great game plan, great crowd. Their guys played great. You know, when you're a Duke, you're going to get everyone's best shot. And to be able to go in there with their best player, you know, maybe not scoring as well in Filipowski, but other guys stepping up. Mark Mitchell has played great over the past few weeks. Over the last 4 games, Jared McCain is leading them in scoring over 18 a game. Proctor's rounding back in shape. I mean, they have a lot. They have a lot of weapons. They're very talented. You know, I think John and his staff has done an outstanding job of developing those guys. Obviously, they can score it. They have great size and length at every position, so they can be really disruptive defensively. I just think they're a really good basketball team. So everything concerns me about them.
How important was this Louisville win from a kind of standpoint?
It was important. It was important. Look, we needed a win, regardless. And you know, I don't take for granted a road win or any win, really, but especially to go on the road in this league and to be able to get a win. More importantly, I thought offensively it's the best we've played in a little bit as far as the ball movement. The ball had energy. And so I was really, really pleased with that, and I was pleased that led to a win.
How do you coach through the physicality that you were talking about this morning as far as what's being allowed in games right now?
Yeah, we have to be tougher. I mean, that's the bottom line. When I said that, it wasn't a knock against anyone except for us. Like, I wasn't trying to put it on anyone. Like, we have to be tougher collectively as a group, mentally and physically. We have to be able to play through it. We have to be able to not let somebody knock the ball out of our hands. We have to be able to not get knocked down going for a block out. You know, we have to be able to, when we wall a guy up on a drive, to be able to not get knocked back. Like, those are all things that we have to control and we have to be better with.
But are there things like when you guys are practicing that maybe you add to practice, like different things to focus on that are elemental to winning those situations?
Those are things that we try to, but it's more the mental part of it. Like, you have to be mentally locked in and dialed in all the time. Like, it's not a surprise what teams are trying to do. And so we have to have the mental toughness and the physical toughness, but I think the mental toughness will lead to the physical toughness to be able to concentrate and understand what people are trying to do and to be able to not allow them to do it.
Were you on staff when Shire was a player?
No, I'm not that old.
What made him a great player?
You know, from what those guys told me when I got to Duke back on staff, it was 2 years after John had graduated. And so obviously Coach was his coach, but Chris Collins and Wojo were on staff with me that were a part of John's 4 years. The thing that they talked about, because I didn't watch Duke a lot when I was away. I was at Oklahoma. We had our own stuff going on, so I didn't watch him a lot. The thing that they talked about, Coach, Chris, and Wojo, the coaches at Duke, they talked about how competitive he was and how smart he was as a player and how he loved to play basketball. So I would say those 3 things, on top of the talent that he had, and then the hard work and dedication that he put in, I think those are the things that made him a really, really outstanding college basketball player.
Does the day-to-day stuff that you do, in practice, does that change, from last year when you had a super old group to this year when maybe you're a little bit younger?
Yeah, it does, big time. You know, we have to be, a little bit slower with some stuff, with how we teach and things like that. That can be challenging at times because we're in a part of the season where we got to go. You know, these games are coming pretty quickly for us. Our schedule has been so far, and it'll be this way all year except for once. It'll be Saturday, Tuesday. We have one Saturday, Wednesday week, for us. And so, the learning curve is different. Last year, not just that we were older, but we had what, 2, I think Nike was a 6th-year guy. I think JB, Nelly, and Greg were all 5th-year guys. Greg may have been a 6th-year guy because I think he redshirted 1 year at Marquette. And so not just, but they had a lot of experience and a lot of game experience. And so, these guys, obviously our freshmen, But then when you look at Ish and Zach at this level, it's different. What's required is different. But also Jorge, Guillermo consistently playing minutes in every game, and the attention to detail, the focus, the concentration that's required for that.
Is that more like hands-on coaching, like in practice?
Well, I think we're always hands-on. I think it's more, and we always watch film with them individually, but it's more of that. It's even more of that. It's even more hands-on with extra work after practice, before practice, getting in the mornings, just doing different things with guys to try to help them learn quicker.
You're a consistent person who's maybe first in the door, like the day after a game, like the morning after when you guys are coming in to watch film or get work done.
The one great thing about our team is that I think we have a collective group of guys that love the gym, that love to be in there. So normally, sometimes they'll be in the back gym. I don't see them from my office. If they're in here, depending on what's going on in here, I'll usually always see Blake. I'll always see Jalen. I'll always see Bub. You always see those guys, but also, Jorge, Guillermo, Federico, Zach. Like those guys are in here. Ish is in here. So we have a collective group, man, that's in here getting the work in.
I know you mentioned earlier you didn't have much of an update on Ish. You said he would give it a go in practice today. Is there anything else you can add to Ish's situation?
Yeah, he was able to do some things in practice today. We tried to keep him out of a lot of contact. He was able to do some today. We'll see how he feels later today after getting treatment. And I'm pretty sure it'll be a game time decision tomorrow. It all depends how he responds to, going through. He did all of the drills. He did some of the contact today, not a lot, but he did a little bit. And so it all depends on how he feels from there and how he feels when he wakes up in the morning.
I know they bring back Filipowski. Even Mitchell's having a better year than last year, numbers-wise. What about their backcourt strikes you this year? I know McCain's putting up big numbers as a freshman.
Yeah, and Proctor. Look, Proctor was one of the better guards in the country by the end of last year, and he was that way early. He's coming off of an injury, but you see him rounding into shape. Jeremy Roach is a really good guard. He's an older guy that has a lot of experience, and he's also playing really well. And then when you add those talented freshmen in McCain and Foster, they have a lot of talent. They have a few guys with experience that can help them. Ryan Young has a lot of experience in college that can help them. Jalen Blakes comes in and gives them a punch. He has experience. And so it's a balanced team. It's a well-rounded team. They move the basketball. They play with great passion. You can tell watching them on tape that they're together. It looks like they enjoy playing with each other, and they've gotten better. That's the big thing. They went through that stretch where they lost at Arkansas, and they went and lost at Georgia Tech, and they got off the mat and they got better. They've gotten better in each game, and then I think they're playing very well right now.
Were you at all surprised that Filipowski came back for another year? It seemed like he was like a lottery pick guy.
Nothing surprises me anymore. I think maybe the thing that surprised me was that he didn't test. That right away, I think it was shortly after they lost to Tennessee, that he and Proctor both came out and said that they were coming back. So maybe a little bit surprised by that, but not surprised that he came back.
All right, you brought it up this morning. Michigan, Washington, who got it?
I think Michigan, but man, that quarterback is good at Washington. But I think this is destiny for Michigan. I do. I think with all the stuff that they went through, all the crap that they went through, and the fact that they continue to win and persevere and stay together, and I think they'll win, and I think we'll see Harbaugh in the NFL next year.
Chicago.
Well, there we go. Oh, yeah.
That's what I think.
All right.
So, all right, guys.
Hey, Jeff.
Thank you.
Well, Jeff talked a lot to us about playing through physicality and what you guys have to do to be tougher. How do you guys work on that as a team?
Man, that's really nothing. I mean, you can practice it all you want. I mean, there's plenty of drills you can do, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and just be tough. That's all it is.
Did you see improvements in that against Louisville?
Yes, I've seen improvements in a lot of things against Louisville, but that's definitely one of them.
From that standpoint, do you feel like in that Louisville game you got more offense from defense, and that is a good blueprint going forward, and how your defense can lead in that way?
Yes, 100%. anytime you get a win, you can build off things successfully. That happened. That was successfully, and keep moving forward doing it. And that's definitely one of them.
What have you noticed about Bub that makes him a smart basketball player?
Man, him being smart has a lot to do with his success, honestly, and just knowing who to pass to, when to be aggressive, when not to. Being one of our top scorers and being a point guard takes a whole lot of thinking. So he's definitely great at that.
What do you see from Jalen over the past 4 or 5 games?
The exact same thing, knowing when to look for your shot, but also, knowing your job as a ball handler and a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, majority of the time, and that's what we definitely been emphasizing. Get the ball out your hands. If you're not one of our guards, one of our ball handlers, get the ball out your hands and let them guys make plays. And they're ready. They're not freshmen anymore in my eyes. They're in their second semester, so they have experience in making the right play, and that's what J-Lo's been doing.
Like, what's it do for an offense when you trust your guards?
That's the secret. That's the key. If anybody's struggling with offense, I think that's the key is trusting your guards, and of course your guards making the right plays. But that's the key in my opinion.
Last year, your guards were 23, 24, 25 years old. This year, 18. What is that difference for you, playing alongside them?
Nothing right now. Just like I said, when they were freshmen, maybe there was some things to grow on, but they're not freshmen anymore. So I'm gonna sit there and wait for them to make the right play, and then I'm gonna make my plays when I get it.
I'm going to assume that when other team devises a game plan, they put you right up top on their list. What's it like being a marked man?
I don't. I mean, my whole college career, but everything outside of that, I was pretty much that guy. So, it doesn't really bother me. Just when you're that guy, you can't sit here and try to overdo what your job is. Your job is still your job, no matter how hard they guard you, no matter what they're trying to do. No matter if you have 1 point or 3,000 or 30 or whatever, you do your job at all times. So that's the only way I respond to it. It shouldn't get you out your game because you should always play your own game.
Are there things you guys take from your games last year against Duke going into this matchup?
No, it's not the same team, so there's really nothing to take.
Anything else? Who you got in the game tonight?
Washington. Pettix, he a Florida boy, so I'm going with him.